On a scale of 1 to 10, how food obsessed are you? I'm probably like a 7 typically, but when I'm on vacation or holiday, I'm probably a 9. Like, every time I'm eating a meal, I'm thinking about what my next meal or snack is gonna be and maybe what I want to eat the next day. And I might plan my trip around getting to eat certain foods or eat at certain places because I'll be honest, food is one of the things I most look forward to on a trip. So in this video, I will review my very favorite British foods, the foods that I have to seek out every time I have a trip across the pond. And I want to hear what your favorites are. Either what things look really yummy to you and you want to try, or what British foods already are your favorite. So please comment below and let me know. And don't forget to hit the like button because it makes my day. This first favorite food will not shock you. It's probably the food that most Americans first think of when they hear the term food in England. However, it's not the most popular dish in England. We'll get to that later. Fish and chips are quintessentially English. I've eaten them a million times at all different kinds of places. From a really old, dark pub in London with a big neon sign out front that says, "Traditional fish and chips," to a slick fish and chips chain with Formica tables and fake newsprint that they serve the food on. But probably my best experience eating fish and chips has been in a little seaside town where you go to a fish and chip stand and order hot fish and chips takeaway, and you go sit on a bench and you eat it, possibly having to fend off seagulls. It's just awesome. A favorite fish and chip destination for us that we have returned to time and again is actually not in a seaside town, but in Bromyard. I love this place, not only because it has delicious fish and chips, but it has a very amusing name and a curious description in which the word Chinese is in quotes. Don't be alarmed, it is very common for Chinese food and fish and chips to be offered in the same shop in the UK. And Shun Fat has yummy fish and chips. I'm a purist. I don't care for mushy peas. I don't bother with curry sauce or fried sausages. Just give me a nice thick piece of cod or haddock in a lovely crispy batter with some delicious fat chips, all hot from the fryer and served with plenty of malt vinegar. And maybe a packet or two, or if you're Ian, then 6 or 7 packets of ketchup. Super delish. Up next is the Ploughman's Lunch. You've probably heard the term pub grub, and don't get me wrong, I like a good bubble and squeak as much as the average person. But when I'm in the UK, I don't seek out a pub to eat bangers and mash or one of those dishes known as typical pub fare. My favorite reasons to go to a pub will be featured in chapters 2 and 3. First up is the Ploughman's Lunch. This is my kind of lunch because I'm a huge cheese freak. To know me is to know of my love of cheese. And I heartily agree with this sign I saw in Borough Market. There is no such thing as too much cheese. There's nothing yummier than some delicious cheese, some nice bread, a little high-quality butter, and Branston pickle. If you're not familiar with Branston, it's one of the foods I mention in my Confusing British Food Words video. Because it is called pickle, but it's nothing like an American pickle. It is this sweet and savory condiment that is the ideal complement to cheese and bread. Throw in a few things from the fruit and/or vegetable category, and this right here is the perfect lunch, in my humble opinion. This is the other reason I try to go to a pub on every trip, to have a Sunday roast. Most pubs only do their Carvery on Sundays, and it is a very special meal. There will often be several types of meat, roast beef, turkey, perhaps pork, and an amazing array of delicious side dishes. I posted this photo on Facebook a few years back when I enjoyed this Carvery dinner. I quizzed my friends to see if they could name the 12 types of sides sharing the plate with my roast. My friend Lisa was the first to respond, and she got them all right. Red cabbage, green cabbage, cauliflower cheese, parsnips, peas, carrots, cranberry sauce, roast potatoes, broccoli, sweet mash, stuffing, and Yorkshire pudding. Lisa's from Yorkshire, and honestly, probably my favorite part of this Carvery meal is the Yorkshire pudding. I love them so much. I never make them at home, kind of like scones or clotted cream, so it's just a special treat I enjoy when I visit Britain. This roast dinner had only 4 veg, but it had a giant Yorkshire pudding and loads of gravy, so I was well chuffed. The national dish of England is not fish and chips. It's chicken tikka masala. I was surprised to see how common this dish is simply everywhere in Britain. And for good reason. It's delicious. I'm going to say something very controversial right now. I expect to get hate mail. It's okay, but I'm going to share my opinion. I think that the Indian food I've eaten in Britain is the best I've eaten anywhere. Now, for context, you need to understand, I live in an area of North Texas that has a very high concentration of Indian population. So we have a lot of Indian restaurants around here, like 2 on every block. And I've eaten at many of them. And most of them are good. And it's not that I dislike them. But when I go to England and I have Indian food there, it's just better. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel. If you're used to seeing Indian food in the US, you might say, but it looks the same. However, in my opinion, it does not taste the same. I have 3 theories on why it's different. First of all, it is not as spicy. I've eaten a lot of legit Indian food around here, and it is usually much spicier. Secondly, the British Indian food is a bit sweeter, and like the mildness, I think it's just adapted to the British palate. Thirdly, and this I think is the key, it's made with British cream. Now, if you've watched my love story number 4 about Cadbury chocolate, you've seen my lecture on how great British dairy products are. If you haven't seen that, you need to check it out. I'll include a link in the description. Ian started teasing me after 3 different trips to Britain, when each time we ate at an Indian restaurant, I would exclaim, "This is the best Indian food I've ever had." Well, this restaurant here, this really was the best Indian restaurant ever. If you look at the chicken tikka masala, see that really white cream? That was that really thick, wonderful British cream that was with the tikka masala. Usually it's all just mixed together, but here they served it on top, and oh my goodness, it was so amazing. I have a few favorite British desserts. I think British desserts are pretty amazing. I don't love them all. I'm talking about you, mince pie. But I do like most of them. I'm going to highlight my 2 favorites now that we make a point of getting every time we have a trip to Britain. First of all, fruit crumble. Most of all the foods I'm mentioning in this video are things that I don't make at home. But fruit crumble is the one exception. Ian and I love crumble so much, and it's not hard to make. We have developed our own special recipe Christmas crumble that we make every single Christmas Eve. And we love eating fruit crumble in the summer with delicious fresh fruit. But in Britain, they have amazing crumble. And if we have a chance to have a rhubarb crumble or an apple blackberry crumble, we take it. The other dessert I'm going to highlight is sticky toffee pudding. This is one of those things that I never make at home, and definitely something that is very British. Sticky toffee pudding is a steamed pudding with a great name, a mixture of amazing textures, and a rich, sweet sauce that is unique and memorable and sticky. It's a special dessert that we make a point of searching out every time we're in England. Not all treats we eat in Britain are expensive. Some of the very best things we've eaten have been at bakeries. There are, of course, wonderful little bakeries we've enjoyed at towns throughout Britain, but there are two bakery chains that have also become personal favorites of ours. The first is Greggs. Greggs is a bakery chain with storefronts all over Britain. They are not fancy, and they are certainly not expensive, but they are consistently yummy. Ian is partial to the jam donuts. He claims they are different to the American jam donuts, and somehow much tastier. I am a fan of the cheese and bacon or cheese and tomato turnovers. These photos are of a recipe I found online at flawlessfood.co.uk. They look super easy and super tasty. I might just have to make these here at home since my next trip to Britain is too long to wait for this cheesy goodness. And then there's Gales. Gales is a bakery that we just bumped into on a street corner in London last year. We discovered how delicious their pastries are, and then we were happy to learn that it's a chain, which means we can look forward to enjoying their baked goods on future visits to Britain. Ian's favorite item there was this Anglais apricot, and my favorite treat was this amazing berry and custard brioche. Both were scrumptious. Yeah, so now my mouth is watering and I need to go have a snack. Be sure to tune in for my next video, which is coming out in exactly 1 week, in which I will answer the frequently asked question, how do you eat all those foods on all your videos and not gain 150 pounds on every trip? If you aren't already subscribed, I suggest you do that now, and be sure to click the bell button next to the subscribe button because that will alert you each time a new video comes out. Thanks so much for watching this video, and as always, do something good in the world today.